What up, everybody? Hey, we are back. Here we are again at Bigger, Better Business. It's your boy MC Aspires Black Superman, Mr. Health and Wealth. You guys see I wear the S on my chest right now. I gotta represent. But we are here today. Great, great IG call for you guys. Great call for you with Minister Michael Lyons. He's gonna be hopping on here in a second. And you guys already know the purpose of these calls, the purpose of these messages, the reason why I do these interviews is because I want to drop billion-dollar gems, billion-dollar nuggets, stuff you don't just get in your everyday conversations about life, about overcoming adversity, about being, having God's patience, about, just being steadfast, trusting in the Lord, trusting in His Word, and just believing that there is a purpose and will in your life no matter what goes on, no matter what adversity you face, no matter what challenges you face. You can definitely overcome them. And I personally asked my spiritual father, Michael Lyons, to hop on Destined for Greatness at a very young age. There he is.
Hey, Mark, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. You can hear me pretty good?
I can hear you very good. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, good, man. Good. You're looking good over there, man.
Hey, man, I just have the perfect role model of what it looks like to be an outstanding man of God, physically fit, strong, just, a good guy. So, man, I'm trying to keep up with you, good sir. How are you? Everything's all good with you?
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. I can't complain at all. Thanks for having me over here on your channel. I was looking forward to today. I was trying to invite some people on here, but, I'm not too up to speed on IG yet, but I was trying to invite some people on my page to get here. So if anybody knows how to do that, just tag my page on there. But I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm still learning myself. I literally just started this maybe like 2 months ago. It was just an idea in my head. We love you too. It was just an idea in my head. I was like, you know what? I know some phenomenal people out in this world who've been coaches, who've been mentors, who've helped me grow through a lot. Like I said, I've known you for 10 years now, ever since I moved back to California. And I was telling everybody, I was saying nothing but nice things about you as far as you being my spiritual father. And you just helped me through so much in life. I can go on and on through all the great things you've helped me through. So I was just telling everybody about who you are and about what the purpose of this call is today. Just to kind of give a brief description to everyone, because as I always say, this message is going to go out to Facebook, so you can share it there, Mike. It's going to go on Instagram, YouTube. Our kids is going to watch this for generations to come. So this is going to be one of those powerful messages that lasts forever. But I've always wanted to cover the story of Joseph because in brief, a lot of times people, when they talk about overcoming adversity and following God's will and all those things, they always use the story of Job. And I've never really liked the story of Job because it's like absolute worst case scenario where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And you're just looking at Job like, how did you remain faithful? Like, there's no way you can take out my whole squad and I'm supposed to just love you. And he did. But I love how Joseph had a story. It was a journey. Even as a kid, we learned it as a story of Joseph in the coat of many colors. But then as you grow up and become an adult, you're like, oh, this story is intense. Like, this is real deal, like Old Testament fire and brimstone type of love. But I've always wondered, like, man, who can I talk to about this story? And you're my absolute favorite person in the whole wide world. So I'm glad to have you on the call. I'm glad to have you on this message. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to take over, and I'm going to talk about the story of Joseph in like 2 minutes, and they'll go from there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, first off, I appreciate you having me on again. Thanks. I'm looking forward to talking about Joseph and the theme that you have working here. Just briefly, like I said, I'm a pastor here. I'm a father, brother, son, and I'm a lot of different things. But I've been in the ministry, and I'm talking about the Bible now. I've been in the ministry now for about almost 20 years now. 15 years. Yeah, since 2005. I trained a lot under Dr. Joshua Beckley, who's a great mentor, great pastor. Moved on and started a church here online. So if you ever get a chance, go over to Bible Talk 2. It's here on Instagram or YouTube. It's an online church specifically designed for this time. And all I focus on is connecting people to God's Word. That's it. So what we're going to be talking about here, you learn, connect to God's Word, and it'll show, how your life connects, in this case, to Joseph's life. And I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. See, you see why this guy's a great man. Everything I said about him was true, right, guys? So thank you very much. Now, like I said, the story of Joseph has always been interesting to me because
Mm.
I felt like it was a long period of time where Joseph had favor from the Lord, but it just seems like everything that was going on was just setting him up for his come up. And I feel personally, again, one thing I'm about is entrepreneurship, leadership, facing adversity, things of that nature. And I felt like whenever Joseph was put in a moment of adversity, it's almost like he was always 10 steps ahead. Like, it was almost like, he just knew, like, God, he has my back. He has my favor. Even in the worst moments, God is going to look out for me. And every single time I felt like, I felt like reading it, that God was looking out for him. And then he had the ultimate come up. So just to give a brief, again, I'm going to go very quickly. It's going to be brief. I know Michael Lyons is going to either add some things, correct some things, or, add some sauce to the story. But again, the story of Joseph is found in Genesis chapter 37. Joseph was one of Jacob's 12 sons. It says that his father loved him more than any of his sons, so much that he gave him a coat of many colors, which a lot of us learned in, like, that's like Bible school 101, other than John 3:16. And then his brothers were jealous. They actually grabbed, and I'm paraphrasing, guys, they actually grabbed him up one day, and they grabbed him up one day, and some of the brothers were like, oh, we should kill him. And another brother was like, hold on, like, slow down. Like, this is our father's son. This is our brother. So they actually sold him into slavery. He ended up going into slavery, and then he's actually sold to a man named Potiphar, who was a well man in Pharaoh's kingdom. And then he actually became one of Potiphar's officials. I call him the business manager of Potiphar's house. He was doing really well, but Potiphar's wife had an eye for him because I guess in the Bible said that he was a very attractive man, a man of good stature. And so she tried to make a move at him, but him being a man of God, he was like, no, I'm not having that. So then after she made a pass, she actually ripped his clothes off, and my man's ran out butt booty naked out the door, right? So because she couldn't have him, she actually accused Joseph of rape, told her husband, and of course her husband's in a tough situation, but he's going to believe his wife. So he had Joseph thrown in jail. While Joseph was in jail, he actually, again, got some more favor from God, actually became manager of the prisoners. And so he began to, talk to the prisoners, get to know them. I believe it was Pharaoh's baker and cupbearer was in the prisoners, and they were having dreams, and they began to interpret those dreams. And so then they went back to Pharaoh, got Pharaoh's favor, and Joseph was like, hey, man, when you get out, just don't forget your boy. Well, I think it was like 2 years went by, 3 years went by, 4 years went by. He didn't hear anything. Then finally, Pharaoh started to have some dreams, and the cupbearer and the baker said, hey, you know what? I know this guy named Joseph. He might be able to help you about his dreams. Pharaoh ended up calling up Joseph. Joseph interpreted dreams and said, hey, man, you're going to have 7 years of greatness and 7 years of famine. This is what this means. You need to prepare for this and get ready for this. Pharaoh believed Joseph. Joseph again got back in favor again. Became Pharaoh's right-hand man. Eventually became Pharaoh, and then he was put in a situation where he had to practice forgiveness, and he had to forgive his brother. He was face to face with his brothers, and what most people would call the best glorified petty moment in the history of mankind. Guess what Pharaoh didn't do? He showed love. He showed forgiveness. He did exactly what God would want him to do. Show forgiveness to his family. And again, that was a big paraphrase. I know Michael's going to chop it up a little bit and go from there. But we can start back from the beginning of just having favor from God. Because again, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a minister, as a head of household, a husband, one thing I definitely know that I hope a lot of people would want is favor from God, to be put in a position that no matter what you're going through, no matter what's going to happen, you already know from the beginning that you are covered by God. So we can start from there and just talk about just how good is it to be a man in Joseph's place at a young age, just having favor from the Lord. Can we talk about that a little, Michael?
Sure. I want to kind of put this in the framework of what you were discussing, or what your channel is, from what you explained to me. You talk a lot about entrepreneurship, and Joseph is a number of different things, including, an entrepreneur. And one of the things about being an entrepreneur is you're going to be stepping out on places that people maybe haven't stepped out on before. And you're going to be taking a path that's less traveled. And what occurs is, when you're a leader or an entrepreneur, you are somebody who things happen to first, and then other people come along behind your paths or your steps that you've already taken. You see evidence of this in Joseph's life. Joseph was an entrepreneur. He was a leader. He was going through steps that nobody else was going to go through until it was time for the other people to follow along. Let me explain. Joseph goes from the pit to the palace. Mm-hmm. He goes from the pit of slavery to the palace of Pharaoh's house. And later on, years later, his whole family followed him from where they were to Pharaoh's house. Mm. The reason I'm saying that is, you may not know why God has you on the path he has you on. But if you do what Joseph does, and that is keep God first in all your ways, he will direct your path. And that's what you see from Joseph. Mark, Joseph was, he was a gifted man, and there's a lot of people with gifts. But the people who hated him was the very people who were supposed to love him, to encourage him. Mm-hmm. His own family. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Have you ever had an experience where your own family seemed to be working against you when they should be working for you? Now I know you maybe don't want to answer that, but I will. And I'll say, yes, that's the case. Yes. The people who were supposed to be for you seem to be working the most actively against you. Why? Because Joseph was a dreamer. Mm-hmm. And the problem with Joseph is this: he shares his dream with the wrong persons. Mm. Everybody doesn't need to be, and I'm just talking now, but everybody doesn't need to have access to your dreams.
No, go ahead. Keep going. You preaching.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You can't share your dreams with everyone, because some people are going to be for you. Yeah, Mark, you're doing great. Or yes, corn-fed, you're doing great. Or yes, Julian, you're doing fantastic. Jenny, you're doing great. But guess what? The other guy next to the guy is going to start actively working against you. So if you share with him that you got a dream to set up a place to help, homeless people, well, the guy next to the guy is going to start setting up a dream or setting up a way for you to fail. Mm. And this is what happened with Joseph and his brothers. He shares his dream, the dream God gave him. And what they do to him? They sold him into slavery. Mm. Man. That's terrible right there as it is. Now, to make things even worse, initially they weren't even going to do that. They was going to kill him.
Yes.
Yeah, they was going to kill him initially. But somebody said, no, let's just sell him into slavery. Well, he goes into slavery, and while he was in slavery, he acknowledged God in all his ways. And what happened? He winds up going to the top of the environment that he's in. Joseph was in jail. Joseph was a slave. Mm-hmm. You might as well call Joseph black, because Joseph experienced a lot of different things. He experienced a lot. He experienced turmoil in the home. He experienced, going to jail. He experienced, being down at the bottom and being up at the top. But Joseph was someone who acknowledged God in all his ways. And so, the first thing that I, want to say about this story is acknowledge God in all that you do, and he'll direct your paths, whether you know it or not.
Okay, now I want to go back, because you said something that was very crucial, and you were very transparent about, your situation about sharing your dreams. Yeah. And it's kind of the same situation I've been in so many times that I don't know if a lot of people can relate, especially being like a millennial, being in a millennial generation where we're the big dreamers, we're the entrepreneurs, we're the tech people, we're the people who we don't work jobs for more than 365 days. Like, we're the job hoppers, right? Yeah. And the thing is, you're absolutely right, Mike. And I'm not sure if somebody can relate to this, whether they're watching these now or later on. But when you talk about entrepreneurship, you talk about sharing your dreams, he's absolutely right. I've experienced people who've called what I do in financial services a pyramid scheme, a scam. It can't be real. And what's most hurtful, Mike? And you mentioned this, but it's most hurtful when it's the people you thought would support you the most who don't do any, and I mean absolutely nothing to support you. It almost hurts to the core, because it's like, even what I do, if you've watched any of my channels or looked at any of my page, I said, life insurance.
Yeah.
Life insurance has been around since like 100 BC. Like, it's been around for a long time. There's nothing illegal about life insurance. There's nothing illegal about annuities. There's nothing illegal about helping people get out of credit card student loan debt. You know what student loan debt is like. Student loan debt is no joke. So my calling is to pass on generational wealth and to change the negativity that's behind money, capitalism, entrepreneurship, all of those things. I'm preaching this every day. And then the person you love the most is going to turn around and say, yeah, it's a scam. And you're just like, you know me for how long? My entire life, since I was able to walk and say dad or cookie. And you're going to tell me it's a scam? Mike, I'm just telling you, that hurts, because it's my dream, my vision is something that God has given me. And that's something painful. So again, I don't know who's going to watch this or see this, but as Mike said, sometimes you don't need to share your vision, your dream with everybody. And if you do, you just got to hold back the tears, say, thank you. I appreciate whatever support you want to give, and keep it pushing. So I want you guys to catch that it's going to hurt when the one that's close to you doesn't support your dream. But guess what? Something that Eric Thomas always says, it's not their dream, it's yours. So I want to highlight that. Mike pointed out. So I don't know if you want to address that. But
well, again, too, look what happened to Joseph after he shared his dreams. His brothers took it the wrong way. You see it? The thing that we should understand is that the vision that God gives us is for us. You can't expect everybody to go along with what you are seeing that God showed you. So immediately, and I'm looking here at the passage, when Joseph begins to share his dream, the thing that they immediately do is take offense, because what they did was they tried to find themselves in his dream. You see what I'm saying? You see, some people don't even understand why they don't like you or why they're upset with you. The reason that they're upset with you, what I believe is because they're trying to find where they fit in your dream. But watch this. Some of the places that God has taken you may actually require you to disassociate yourself from some relationships, or let some people be your past for a while, because what happens when Joseph moves on in the direction of God, underneath the direction of God, the people who sold him into slavery were not there for a good part of his development. You following what I'm saying? You see, we love our people that are in our circles now. We have our friends and they're cool. We have people who God has placed us in our life, but understand that some people are only there just for a season. It would have been great for Joseph to grow up with Reuben. It would have been great for Joseph to grow up with Judah. It would have been great for Joseph to grow up with all of his brothers, go to each other's football games, maybe play, go to school together, fight together. But God said that's not the case. Sometimes he has to take you outside of your circle so that you can see something bigger that he needs you to do. And that's what happens with Joseph. So Joseph gets sold into slavery, and then in slavery, Joseph winds up being put in the house of Potiphar. Now, here's the thing, Mark. The Bible says that Joseph was a good-looking man.
Yes.
Okay. Joseph was handsome. So while he was in slavery, working in the house of Potiphar, Joseph learned something. I think it's kind of lost in the story, but here's one of the things that Joseph learned. Joseph learned what he looks like and what it can do to people. Joseph also learned what it's like to manage a house. And one more thing he learned is he learned sometimes that some people who are closest to you are not loyal. How does he learn this? Well, Potiphar's wife starts hitting on him. Yeah. You see, here's one thing that I've kind of found out. In addition to having to be moved from some circles, God needs you to understand who you really are. And what I mean is, Mark, when you're an entrepreneur, you can give your skills to a business or an institution, and that institution will say, thank you very much. You're doing great. Clock in at 9, clock out at 5. We'll pay you $40 a day. Wonderful. Meanwhile, we're going to take the benefit of your work, make $400 a day, but we're going to keep patting you on the head and saying thank you. So what God had to do was take Joseph outside of that circle where his brothers defined who he was. They defined what he looked like. So he didn't know what his value was. He actually seen what his value was. And now he's like, hey, wait a minute. Now let me start flowing in it. Let me start functioning in it. And moreover, let me find out the dangers of it, and let me find out how to use it the right way. And that's what he learns when he gets over to Potiphar's house, in addition to keeping God first. Because the thing that you need to know about an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, is this. You need to be self-disciplined.
Yes.
You can't lay around in the bed. Now, you can tell me this, Mark, but you can't lay around in the bed all day and expect money to come into your direction. You got to do something.
Absolutely.
You got to be disciplined. You see, here's the thing. Potiphar left Joseph in the house by himself with his wife because he understood the man. He understood the character. Even the world understands your character. They try to use it for their own good, but they understand it. But here's the thing. Joseph acknowledged God. He was so disciplined that he says, no, I don't care if my boss ain't here. I'm still going to do my job. And I don't care if you think I'm hot. I'm still going to do what God called me to do. And what did he do? He didn't fall for the trap of, sleeping with her. He did what he was supposed to do. And what happened? Well, that's the next part of the story. Joseph actually learns what it's like to be set up, which again, I tell you, Joseph is a black man because he was set up and put in jail. But we'll talk about that part later on.
Oh my goodness. Hey, you might as well keep going, dropping bars. I mean, that was excellent. Like I said, y'all better be picking this up. But yes, he's disciplined, all that on the money. You transitioned. That was a great transition. So yes, now we're in Potiphar's house.
Yes,
sexy man. He's getting pressed up on by the Potiphar's wife, and he's put into a very spicy situation. And this is one of these things where, fellas, even ladies, but I'm telling you guys, fellas, temptation is rough. Yeah. It's tough when you're grinding and when you're on a path towards success and everybody's looking at you. I'm just telling you, I'm just being transparent. It seems like every woman that you've ever wanted, talked to, crushed, they're sliding your DMs. You're getting a hey big head. You're getting a random text, and you're like, where are you coming from? Because back then you didn't want me, but now I'm hot. You all know me. And I'm just telling you guys, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just telling you it's facts. When you're doing like you're just regular and I'm just minding my business, I'm going through hard times, nobody's talking to you. But as soon as they start to see some positive activity, boom, that's when they pop back in your life. So I'm just letting you guys know temptation does come. So let's go forward from there, Mike. Take it away.
Like Forever Dre just said, yep, if the devil ain't tempting you, then then something's wrong, right? And that's what Forever Dre said. Well, here's the thing though, right? So you're in Potiphar's house now, and first thing that happens was his wife, Potiphar's wife, throws himself at him. So Joseph has to resist the temptation. But here's what you learn though as an entrepreneur. And I think Joseph had the foresight and the vision in order to understand this. You see, when you're on the way up, when you're trending up, there's going to be people who shoot their shot right away because they see where you're going. Potiphar's wife seen where he was going. Now, Potiphar's wife may not have been the youngest because we know she was married to Potiphar, but she seen where he was headed. And so she threw her shot in there right away because she knows where Joseph is going. Here's what you learn from this. You learn that when people start throwing their shot at you, when they start shooting their shot, trying to get connected to you in that way, they can see the potential in you. They see where you're going. But let me tell you this. Don't fall for the shot. Because if somebody's trying to connect to you in that way, especially in an inappropriate way like she was doing, what they're really doing is saying, listen, I'm going to go ahead and try to get my 10% now because I see where you're going. As an entrepreneur, you need to understand that some people see the potential. And you may not see it yet. You may not understand it to its fully or to its fullness, but they can see it. And since they see it, they're trying to do what you can, they're trying to get what they can get while they can get it. And so that's what Potiphar's wife does. Joseph, though, of course, doesn't fall for it. And then he gets set up and put in jail. She says, hey, he tried to rape me, and he gets put in jail. Here's the next thing. Being integrous sometimes requires longevity. You see, when Joseph was put in jail, Mark, for no reason, he wasn't just there for a day or two. Joseph was there for years.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't just there for a day or two. You see, there's a number of different black men who are in prison right now. They ain't just there for a day or two. They've been there for some years, and I don't want to take the conversation in that direction, but here's the deal. There are going to be people who are going to attack your integrity, and sometimes it's going to take years. But your job is not to focus on the attacks from the enemy. Your job is to stay focused on God. While Joseph was there, he acknowledged God in everything that he did. And by virtue of his acknowledgement, all he was doing was just following God's plan, following God's path. And he got elevated in prison and ultimately left prison and moved on to a place that would set him up for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
You follow what I'm saying? You see, Mark, the thing is, there are some people, if they can't have you, they will hate on you.
Yes.
Are you following what I'm saying?
They hate me because they hate me.
If they can't have you, they're going to hate on you. So you think that that particular man or woman is talking about you in their DMs or talking about you in a post because they don't like you. No, they don't like the fact that they shot their shot at you and you did not fall for the trap. Are you following what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yes.
There's somebody out there right now that's working with Mark or looking at Mark now and be like, man, I want a piece of Mark because I see where he's going. But Mark, you've been down that road before. So you're like, no, we ain't doing that no more. I'm grown past. So what happens is they automatically going from loving you to hating you. Yes. You follow me? That's demonic stuff right there. Yes, but they'll pray against you. That's right. Forever Dre says they will pray against you, and that's what happens. So this is what happens when Joseph moves from Potiphar's house into the prison, and the thing that happens after he's in the prison, elevated there, is real unique because then you move to the last part of his journey, which is moving from prison to the palace.
Yes. Yes. Now, the crazy thing is, you mentioned it a little bit about, people being in prison. You guys, if you follow me, I worked corrections for 3 years. I've talked to different people from different backgrounds, who've committed different crimes. I've seen people who are like blatantly like, yeah, you did that. Then I saw some people like, you know what? It just sounds like you were in a bad place at the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the wrong shake of life. Like the dice just did not follow you. And there are some people like, you know what? It does not sound like you did that. I can honestly say that being a former correctional officer and being a former police officer, it's like, yeah, you were wrongly accused. But I mean, what is that like just as a human being mentally imprisoned, emotionally imprisoned, whether it's through trauma or failure? Because I personally, me in my field, I tell everybody I'm a recruiter. My job is to tell people about finances and to build a team. I feel like it's a disservice to people that if I don't tell you about what I do and I don't even offer you an opportunity to be a part of what I do, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to you because some people are looking for that freedom from their 9 to 5 or whatever it may be. But one thing that I see a lot when I talk to people is like they've literally mentally imprisoned their dreams and their thoughts and their visions. And I'll always ask a lot of times in my interviews, I say, when did you stop dreaming? When did you stop believing yourself? When did you stop believing that you literally can do all things through Christ who strengthens you? You can literally become whoever you want. And sometimes it's at an early age, it's 21, 22. Some people might be in their 30s or 40s and their 50s. But I personally feel like a lot of people are imprisoned in their own thoughts, in their own mind, in their own spirit, to where if they just had that little bitty bit of hope that I do my best to offer, they can go do phenomenal things. So even if you're not physically in prison, how do people get out of that imprisoned mindset, that imprisoned, like, I'm a failure, I failed 10,000 times, I failed, 6 times at this one thing, there's nothing I'm good at. Like, how do we help people get out of that mindset, out of that mentality, out of that experience to literally break free? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, sure. So when Joseph was in prison, let's just start there, or let's pick up there. When he was in prison with a couple other people. If I'm not mistaken, it was a baker
and Pharaoh's cupbearer or something like that.
and the cupbearer. Yeah, thank you very much. The baker and the cupbearer. And I'm trying to look for it here as I'm talking to you. But he was there with the baker and the cupbearer. Okay, well, let me back up there. While you're in prison, you can be imprisoned in different stages of your life and not even know it.
Mm-hmm.
There will be people there that are around you experiencing the same thing, but they won't be doing the same thing you're doing. What do I mean? Well, while Joseph was in prison with the cupbearer and the baker, Joseph was not doing the same things that the cupbearer and the bakers were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Joseph was in prison, he was still dreaming. He was still keeping his mind in the path and direction that God wanted you to go in. What do I mean? You see, somebody may be able to take and physically imprison you. This is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody may even actually take and keep you in a certain social class for as long as they possibly can. This is possible. But they cannot stop you from dreaming. They cannot stop you from making progress towards your goal, even though they've done all this in their power to put you in a less than position. You see, what we learn from Joseph is this. It's very possible to be put in a less than position because you don't have the economic power or you don't have the social status. But watch this. If God says it, that settles it. No one who is of human flesh can do something or proclaim something or dictate something that God says is that is against what God says. God knew where Joseph was going. He knew what Joseph needed in order to get to where he was going. And he needed to stop in prison for a little bit to understand what goes on in there. Now, what am I saying? Potiphar's wife may have thought she was successful. But what she didn't know is the same thing that Potiphar's brothers didn't know. And that is the will of God is on Joseph's side. And so Joseph continued to focus on God's will. And what I'm saying is, if you keep your mind on God, if you keep it focused on the right thing, you will move through situations, whether high or low, and go on to the right destination. Well, ultimately, Joseph leaves prison. He leaves prison under the most unlikely of circumstances. He's functioning in his gift, his entrepreneurial skill. He interprets a dream for the baker, I believe it was, or maybe I think it was the baker. And he's like, hey, listen, go tell Pharaoh I'm here and get me out. Well, anyway, the guy who was in prison with him didn't do it.
Nope.
So his cellie, he's like, he just left him in there for a couple more years. And then in a couple, but here's the thing, right? A few years later or so, he remembered that. And then ultimately he gave word to the Pharaoh, and Pharaoh got him out.
Yes.
What does that mean? Well, here's the thing. The person who is connected to you, and I think it's a rule of thumb in entrepreneurship, I believe. I think it's like the rule, I think it's like 4, and I might be wrong on that. Hey, 777, Tess, how are you? I think it's the rule of 4. It's like every 4th person is someone who's going to lead you to your destiny. So in other words, the person that's connected to the person that's connected to the person is going to lead you there. Well, anyway, the point is this. He was just functioning in his gift, and the baker led him to Pharaoh at some point in time. You see, if you just do your job every day, just do what you know to do, the place where God leads you to, your gift is going to make room for you. You're going to be put in a place where people are going to know what you're doing. Hey, this person's honest. This person is integrous. Let me go over here because I know he's not going to rip me off. And hey, you don't know, but the person next to that man actually has the network of connection that'll boost your business to places that you could never believe. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
And see, that's what happens when Joseph gets out of prison and moves to the palace of Egypt. Joseph goes viral in the palace. But here's the thing though, Mark. He doesn't go viral and start a whole new ministry. Joseph just goes viral doing what he's been doing the whole time.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
Exactly.
The thing that got him hated on, the thing that got him put in prison,
yep,
the thing that got people shooting their shot at him. Joseph goes viral now when he goes over to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh sees the same thing that and watch this. This is real cool. Pharaoh sees the same thing that Joseph's brothers see. Pharaoh sees the same thing that Potiphar's seen himself. Pharaoh sees the same thing that Potiphar's wife sees in him. And Pharaoh knows what to do with it.
Yes.
Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Here's what we learned, Mark. Everybody doesn't know what to do with you, Mark. So they try to crunch you in their box and put you where they think they fit. Joseph's brothers didn't know what to do with him, so they try to kill him. Potiphar started him off on the right path, but he gave him a box that was too small for Joseph. It was good for a while to develop and train, but he had to move on. Potiphar's wife tried to put him in the boyfriend or booty call box. The cupbearer and the prisoner and the prison director tried to put him in a box that was suitable for him, but Joseph was bigger than that. Pharaoh knew exactly what to do with Joseph because Pharaoh had a bigger mindset.
Oh, that's so
you see,
good.
The truth of the matter is this, Mark. Somebody don't know what to do with you. Victor loves Jesus. Somebody doesn't know what to do with you. Somebody doesn't know what to do. So they try to put you in places, and there'll be some places where you can grow. But then you have to understand that when it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. And God will lead you in the direction and path and the person that you need to be attached to so that your gift can be used to its maximum capacity. And that takes Joseph from prison into the palace.
Man, and you're talking, that's like what, like a 13-year span or something like that? Oh, yeah. My goodness, that is so good. That's like, I'm almost speechless because you're right. It's like some people don't know what to do with you. Some people don't know what to do with your gifts, and some people will try to clamp down or minimize your ability and your skills to hold you down. And man, you just making me think about like all the moments where I'm like, hey, he tried to hold me down. They tried to hold me down. She tried to hold me down. You just made all the flashbacks go through my mind. This is why I greatly appreciate you, because that's such a deep message that you're right. One thing I've always learned is that people in your life for a reason and for a season. And there are people who literally just don't know what to do, like with my loudness. Like sometimes I talk in all caps. I'm energetic. Sometimes I'm just go, 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 go. Like I will run through a wall. I will work hard, no sleep. Like I'm just that guy. And some people don't get it. But then I can honestly say when I joined a company like a PHP, it took my thinking to another level, Mike. I mean, I'm reading 2-3 books a month. I'm like, my personal development just went from like 4 to 1,600 in a matter of 2 years, just being with this company, being around guys, giants who just talk different, walk different. They wear a suit different. They just, this their whole aura, being around them. It's almost like you feel unworthy. I'm saying this for myself. It's almost like sometimes I feel unworthy to be around them, but then I also feel like I'm in the right place. Because what do you have on the other side, Mike? And again, you know this. They say you accumulate the wealth of your top 5 people you're around. So if you're around 40,000-aires, you're probably going to end around a 40,000-aire. If you're around nothing but broke people, you're probably going to stay broke. If you're around people who only are pro this or pro that, you're probably going to be that. And that's what your mindset is going to focus on. But then when you shift your position or you shift your views to maybe something different and you put yourself in a different environment, that allows for your mind to expand. And that's something I personally have to learn, just not as a human, as an entrepreneur, because I'll be honest with you. I just did a video the other day about generational curses and how my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my father passed down being a womanizer. And I had to struggle through that in my own realm. But then when I became a father and when I grew up and really started to study the word and I got great mentorship from guys like you, I realized that I personally wanted to choose a different path, not only for myself, but for my son. So I had to be around a Michael Lyons to see, oh my God, like this is what a good husband's supposed to be. This is what a good father is supposed to be. I got to be coached and mentored by a guy like Robert Strong and Pastor Joshua Beckley and the Damon Williamses and all these guys. And I'm like, y'all, this is what good leaders, spiritual leaders and husbands and fathers and mentors. This is what they look like. So now I was able to shift my mind from, okay, life can't be about chasing tail and chasing women. If I really just chase God's heart and I chase being a better person and being a good father, good things will come to me. And a lot of people see that in my relationship with my son. A lot of people see that, how I interact with people. So I hope you guys catching what he's putting down. You guys pick that up, take it and run with it. But your associations, who you talk to, who you grow with, that really does matter. So I wanted to point that out to anybody watching this video. You put down some good stuff. So I appreciate you for that.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things when you take Joseph in this last part of his life, or actually it's not the last, but it's the second to last part of his life, you put him in the palace now. Mm-hmm. Right away, Pharaoh recognizes what Joseph is capable of. And what does he do? Well, Owen, what he does is he elevates Joseph to second in command. Mm-hmm. Okay. Your gift is going to make room for you. What that means is everybody else that's in that kingdom had to listen now to Joseph. You see, sometimes God has you on a path that is different from your friends. Sometimes God has you on a path that's trending upward. It is not your job to listen to people back and forth, but rather it's your job to understand that I need to acknowledge God in all my ways, and he's going to elevate me and place me in a position where I'm going to be the expert in the field and not the person just who is listening to everyone else. And so the point is, when Joseph gets into the palace, he's elevated and he winds up helping to save the entire country from a very bad time. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, what happens? Joseph's past comes back into his life. Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, though. Joseph, at this stage, has already been a man who was subject to being lied on. Potiphar's wife.
Yeah.
Joseph, at this stage, was already subject and had been a prisoner for some time now.
Yep.
Joseph, at this stage, now has power. Here's the thing that Joseph does that shows you how much he's grown. When the past comes back into Joseph's life, he does not respond to the past in a petty or inappropriate way. Mm-mm. You see what I mean? Mm-mm. Because Joseph knows the outcome because he's lived it. He's experienced it. So Joseph knows that he has the power to put them in prison, but he's like, I've been there. What's that really going to do? Joseph knows that he has the power to extinguish them, but he's not choosing to do that. You see, on your journey, on your process to wherever it is God has you to go, he's not going to give you something before you're ready to handle it. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be on a fast track to power when you don't know how to handle power, because what's going to happen is you're going to misuse and abuse it.
Yes.
And so Joseph, his past comes back in his life. And because his past comes back in his life, Joseph now gets the opportunity to get closure. He gets closure with his brothers. They find out it's him, but here's the cool thing. Joseph then moves on with his family to a point where his legacy will be cemented. Mm-hmm. See, now what they should understand.
You might have gotten a call. We're going to stand by. There we go.
Uh-oh.
We good?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, sorry. You froze for like 5 seconds. So if you say anything, you said Joseph gets to the point to where he gets to cement his legacy, and then you were going to say something after that.
Yeah, so for the person who's watching this, entrepreneur or somebody who looking for direction or don't know what's happening or where they should go, your entire life is a setup. It's not just a place where you want to go, but it's a place where God is taking you to. And along the way, enjoy the ups and downs, because what's going to occur is everything that you've gone through, you're going to need in order to get to where you're going to. Mm-hmm. See, Joseph needed everything he went through in order to get to where he was going to. So now that he's in power, watch what he does. He doesn't use his power to be petty. He doesn't use his power to go back now and destroy people that once did him wrong. Joseph has a better, a deeper, and a wider mindset. He uses his power to take an entire nation of people, his entire family. Yes, 6HOEZ. How you doing? He uses power to take an entire group of people and bring them and elevate them up. Mark, watch this. The very same people that was trying to keep him down, the very same people who was trying to kill him, the very same people who, let me take the bus down your road. The very same woman who turned you into CPS because you wouldn't love her. Maybe that don't reach somebody. The very same person who lied on you to get you thrown in jail. Maybe that don't hit for somebody. The very same man who told you that you were never going to be anything else but his. Maybe that'll hit home for you. The very same group of people who told you you wouldn't make it. He turns around now, gains more power than they ever could imagine, and elevates that entire group. Not because he was being petty, not because he can turn around and say, see, I told you so, but because God had a plan for him, and his plan included all of them, whether they liked it or not.
Man, let's go.
Are you following what I'm saying?
Let's go.
Your gift, and this is the thing that I want to probably leave you with here as we go to the last part of this. Your gift is not just for you, it's for everybody that God has included in it. You just do what God told you to do, and people are going to come along with you regardless of if they like it or not. Are you following what I'm saying?
Let's go.
You can't do nothing to stop it.
Yes. Oh my goodness, Bar, man, you might as well just finish it out because.
well, here's the thing, right? Here's how the story concludes. Here's the story. How the story concludes. Corn-fed. That is the best way to win. You see, the story concludes with this. Joseph moves in the children of Israel, his family, his relatives, to Egypt. And because he does that, his entire house, including his father, is fed through famine. There was a famine going on throughout the land. Well, they got a chance to eat. Joseph made a connection with Pharaoh, and Pharaoh said, Joseph, move your family in. When he moved them in to the place, the family grew, but they would have been extinct had Joseph not taken the course that he's taken. They would have been extinct because there was a famine. Egypt was the only one that had food at the time. So his whole family survived off of one man, Joseph. They grew inside of Egypt. They grew to a mighty nation. And here's where it gets deep in here. The legacy Joseph leaves is this. The dreamer who acknowledged God in all his ways winds up saving the people who tried to hurt him or harm him. Not because it was on his own might or own power, but because God told him to go in a certain direction and he was wise enough to listen. If you're a dreamer or an entrepreneur, follow the direction that God has laid out for you. Acknowledge him in all your ways and every step of the way. And if you do that, you're going to find that you're going to avoid some situations that could ensnare you before you can even get to the palace. You're going to find that you're going to avoid some situations that will kill you even while you are on your way to the palace. And you're going to find that there's going to be some information you need along the way so that you can be the leader that you're designed to be. Joseph, I guarantee you learned something from Potiphar. Joseph, I guarantee you learned something about the people closest to you and how they can stab you in the back. Joseph learned. And so Joseph used all that when he was in that position of power. And his legacy is this. Joseph saved his people during a time when they were going to become extinct. So go blue 34945. You want to live your life knowing that you're going to leave a legacy behind. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's how you want to live your life to leave a legacy. Live your life to leave a legacy. And Joseph winds up leaving a legacy like no other because he just acknowledged God in all his ways.
Woo!
That's good, man.
I'm trying to tell you, hey, another one, bars. Now, look, if you guys watch this later on in the future, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you got to share it. Go follow Minister Lyons at Bible Talk too. I know a lot of people, again, if you watch this later on, guys, we're on Instagram Live. People are posting comments, questions.
Yeah.
I will tell you guys this. Right now, Michael and I are on a limited amount of time. He's a busy man, and I'm still a very busy man. We will actually most likely in the very near future hop back on sometime soon. And I want to answer a lot of questions that you guys are posting about attending church, about sinning, about loving Jesus Christ. You guys are asking some good questions. Unfortunately, we are limited on time. We got about 5 minutes left. So we will hop back on, especially the 15-year-old. He said he's from Scotland. He's been following Mike from TikTok. He's had some great questions. So keep following him. Keep, if you guys can, send him a private message on Instagram, Facebook, and get those questions answered. Because, again, I'm all about being open with my faith and my beliefs. That's one thing that I will never stray away from. I'm strong about what I believe, and I believe in Jesus Christ. And you guys asking some great questions. So I wanted to address that. Powerful message. There's so many more questions I have, but like I said, we're on a limited amount of time. My man just dropped bars on you. I didn't even have to say too much. He just dropped bars on you. So I like to ask this always, Mike. You know, you just talked about leaving a legacy, and you're leaving one of the best legacies that I'm ever going to experience in my lifetime. I'm hoping more people experience. You have, 3 beautiful children that are just getting all this loving and just encouragement and wisdom every single day, and I'm jealous. But when you talk about leaving a legacy, one thing I always like to ask people that I personally speak to, especially on calls like this, is, you were born in 19 and you're going to pass away long years away, hopefully, Mike. But in between, on that tombstone in your life, there's always that dash. And I always like to ask people, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want people to remember Michael Lyons? What do you want people to say about you, Mike?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a good question. At this stage, I want people to remember me as someone who connected them to God's word.
Amen.
And that's the focus of my ministry. That's what I've learned to this point. And that's what I want them to do. Because if you're connected to God's word, you're going to know the power of the things you can do. And I know if I'm able to connect you to God's word, then I'm able to connect you to freedom and to life. It's not me. It's not my word, it's God's word. So if I connect you to God's word, then I'm somebody who I feel like has done my job. Now, in between which, when people look at that dash in between my name, 1978 to, 2078 or whenever it is, I want some people to remember that. And that's what I actively try to do. I actively try to do that. And so part of that is making sure I don't make the same mistakes that I've made prior. And another part of that is just making sure that with each relationship, each day, that I don't let pass by without making sure that people know how much I value them and appreciate them, and sharing with them what I'm supposed to do. Like people like you, man. I'm real proud of you and what you're doing. And like I said, this is just really a blessing for me, man. So at some point, in the future, when I close my eyes, on this side and go over into eternity, I hope that when you see that dash, that you say, that was a man of God, and I hope that it brings a smile to your face and not a grumble or a grunt to your belly. And that's what I hope. So I'm real proud of you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, you've always said some of the best and nicest things to me. Like, even on my worst days, I was like, I at least know that Michael Lyons is proud of me, okay? But, hey, honestly, thank you so much, Mike. You've always answered the call when I reached out. Where can people reach you at? I guess you got TikTok now. Like, how do people connect with you?
Yeah, sure. So, if, like I was saying earlier, I moved out and started a church here. It's online. So if you want to connect with me, you can start here by going to Instagram. Just type in Bible Talk 2. You'll see me, my little picture will pop up. Some of you have gone there now. You can go over to my YouTube. It's the same name, Bible Talk 2. I do a weekly Zoom now on Fridays. So if you want to be a part of that, information is up on YouTube. Or TikTok, same name, Bible Talk 2. Just go over there, check it out. Yes, Cornfred says from TikTok. Thank you very much, man, for being here. You know, on TikTok, same thing, Bible Talk 2. Just type it in. If you're looking for a church home, you're afraid of the COVID stuff, and you just want a place to, you know, to come and be fed, you know, fed the spiritual word of God, you know, consider joining this church here online. It's not a lot of big requirements, you know, just log in and listen, you know, that's it. So as Bible Talk 2, just send me a message on my Instagram. I'd love to have you be a part of it. You know, just come, sit in, listen, check it out.
Man, I don't want any more social medias, but you're TikTok famous. I'm like, I might have to just do this TikTok thing because I don't want any more social medias. But it seems like TikTok is cracking right now. So I think you kind of swayed me on the pro side of TikTok. But nonetheless, again, everybody reach out to him, hit up him on Instagram, send him your questions so he can answer them. Go to his Bible Talk. Maybe he'll hop on Instagram Live on his own, and then he can talk. He can answer all. Y'all had some great questions. So with that being said, Minister Lyons, thank you for being on. We finished at 3:59. I told you I would get you out here at 4 o'clock.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. And until next time, I'll talk to you later, sir.
Okay, man. Take care. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, man. So, hey, you guys heard it. Hey, he gave y'all some bars yet again. I told you guys, Bigger, Better Business. Check me out at Mark Cooks Inspires on YouTube under Bigger, Better Business. I have other things I talk about: entrepreneurship, finances, leadership. I give daily motivation as well. I'm on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram Black Superman, where you guys are at right now. Finish Pace MC Fitspiration. Facebook is just my name, Mark Cooks. Like I said, YouTube, Mark Cooks Inspires. Check me out. Thank you guys for joining. Again, you guys asked some great questions. I strongly suggest that you reach out to Michael Lyons at Bible Talk 2 and get those questions answered. Again, I'm going to have him back on soon so we can talk about everything. But as I always tell you guys, man, in everything you do, always lead with love. Man, Jesus Christ was one of the greatest sacrifices, and he showed us what is meant to lead with love in everything that you do, because you might see somebody where you can better their situation and you get to act on their behalf. And as somebody who leads with agape love, we choose to act on their behalf and to better their lives. And again, that's Black Superman, Mr. Health and Wealth. Thank you guys for joining. Until next time, hey, you guys eat better, save better, live better. I'll talk to you.